Welcome to, I guess today will be Tuesday morning marketing. I'm your host, B Moss, Fall Moss, and hey, Jules.
And I'm Julie. Hey, how's it going, Vaughn? What were you up to this weekend?
Um, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Spent the Thursday through Saturday in DC, to wrap up the week. Actually, the first part of the week I was in Richmond, so I spoke at VCU graduate program for sports leadership. Shout out to my man Greg Burton and Carrie LaCrom. Taught to their media and marketing class, media and communications class. It's kind of like some perspective on NIL and what the influencer marketing landscape looks like in the current creator economy and like how that kind of affects NIL. So I basically it was a good conversation. Like I basically used Michael Jordan as an example to kind of give a history lesson. Like everyone's talking about NIL now, but like NIL as a concept has existed forever. Well, not forever, but has existed for decades, right? And like Michael Jordan was the person who kind of revolutionized that. And so just making them understand that, showing them basically the history of Jordan, getting his Nike deal, and then getting a bunch of other endorsements and then launching Jordan Brand, how Jordan Brand has kind of like been a good example of all the different phases of um, sports brand partnerships and how they've been activated from, starting with him in the basketball, just being him, and then him getting his own Jordan team, like with other athletes in the NBA, and then getting other sports, and then now they're doing NIL deals, but then they also got a bunch of rapper collabs, and kind of like how that gets to today when in the creator economy, like they have deals with people who paint and dance and like are actual creatives. So it was cool. It was a good conversation. Good to keep my muscles fresh and always be able to talk and engage with some people in the business or aspiring leaders in our sports industry. But yeah. And so that was on Tuesday. And then on Thursday I went to DC. So DC, our second home, which we love so much, Jules. I know you're not there right now, but it's very important to us. I went to DC, rapper Wale, participated in this thing called the Gifted Week, which basically it wasn't only him, but it was him and some community partners, some community activists, people in the community. Basically a week long of events, just kind of celebrating and highlighting the talent and promoting the culture and just promoting unity in the DMV area. I specifically went on Thursday to a panel that he hosted that was about the intersection of music and sports. So, really, the highlight of that for me was just getting more insight into some stuff that the Washington Spirit have going on. They have a partnership with DJ Damo Wells. She used to be a DJ, but now she's in the creative space in fashion. So, she's from Maryland, was like internationally known as a DJ, worked at Spotify for a while, but now she's focusing on her own creative house called Dead Dirt. And basically, the Spirit hired her as a creative director, which is cool because she's not an employee, but like they partner with her company and they've been working on merchandise. And they really did a really cool new capsule called New Growth that's kind of inspired. She says it's inspired by like 17th century Renaissance era stuff, which is kind of like reflection of the renaissance that women's sports and specifically women's soccer is going through right now. So it was cool. It was cool to hear her perspective on it. Danielle from the marketing department was also on the panel, so to hear how they're collaborating on that kind of stuff was really cool to see. How when sports franchises, especially in urban areas like DC, tap into the culture in an authentic way to come up with stuff like that, like it can be really impactful. Like the merch capsule has done well. It's got a lot of good publicity, like the stuff sold out, but it helps, right? Like, because now the Spirit are in the championship game. And so it's a lot of excitement around the team, a lot of excitement around the city. So overall, it was a good week for me to just be out and about, talking to people, chatting it up, just being, I don't even know what the word is to call me. I'm not like Like whatever it is, a sports industry socialite, whatever that is, that's what I am right now. That's my job.
That's a hot take to call yourself, I feel like. Okay. So you had a busy week and you're a sports socialite. Uh, but you made me think a couple times while you're talking about your busy week, your very cool, famous person Vaughn week. Um, one, I do think your lesson to the VCU students was really relevant because NIL has kind of like just become this like hot buzzword, but it's not like it was just invented. It's just kind of become everyone's aware, like a part of everyone's awareness as we're like dealing with all these NCAA NIL questions. Um, so I think you chose well there, Vaughn. The other piece that I wanted to talk about, you made me think of it when you were talking about the Washington Spirit collection with their creative director. Um, I think this matters, and I think it's mattering more. Um, like how actually fashionable the merch is. Like historically merch has just been like hoodies with the logo or like an ugly shirt. But I think that there's like a growing demand for like actually high fashion merch, which Pitt is clearly capitalizing on. Pitt announced in September a collection with Mitchell and Ness and Louis Riddick. I think it was like Louis Riddick maybe designed it or like helped collab on it. Um, but it's a Mitchell and Ness line of Pitt merch, um, which looks so cool. And I know it made a lot of news. I think you said you even heard about it and you're not even a Pitt fan.
Right.
So clearly like drawing the right kind of attention. But it's interesting to see like that's this Washington Spirit collection is not the first time something like this is being done.
Yeah, I'm not a Pitt fan, but I am a valued customer of Michelin Ness actually. Um, I have this thing that Justin, shout out to Justin Tinsley, kind of started, and we kind of take took it where we have when we go on vacation, and we happen to out of one of these times we've actually gone on vacation together. But most of the times we go on vacation separately with our wives. But there was one time when we did go on vacation together, but we like just wear Mitchell and Ness throwback jerseys on vacation. So like that's our vacation thing. But
Oh,
anyway,
cute.
so but yeah, I do remember seeing that Louis Riddick thing. I thought it was cool. Like it's important. Like it's not just about like what you said, having it be fashionable is one step of it. Like creating merch that people actually want to buy, that's one. But then I think partnerships like with Lewis Riddick, partnerships with like DJ Damo, and her company Dead Dirt with the Spirit, it becomes a story that goes around it that helps make
Yep.
it have legs when it's not just like, oh, we have better design merch. It's like also like, here's the meaning behind it. Here's why we're doing it. Here's why this person's involved. It makes people care about it a little bit more in terms of other than the fact that it needs to look cool because people want to wear it, but then having that emotional connection from the storytelling is also very important.
That's actually such a good point because like Abercrombie does NFL merch. I don't know if you've seen this because you're not a 15-year-old girl, but Abercrombie's kind of had a renaissance over the last couple of years and they're suddenly trendy again and they do make a lot of cute stuff, but they sell like NFL hoodies
Hmm.
and like they're cute, but if you're like an actual fan of any of those teams, that's probably not like you probably don't really care. Like the people buying those things are probably buying them because they're cute and they might not even like the team. But if you're like a Pitt fan or a Spirit fan, you might like that there's like high fashion merch available that is also like a partnership with some important like community member or alum or player or whatever. I do think it's a good point.
Yeah. Merch is
Uh,
important. Like
yeah,
even you remember when I was at Georgetown, we tried to do cool stuff. Like I was outside of the box with that. That was
you
kind
made
of,
some cool stuff.
thank
And
you.
I refuse to wear ugly things, so I appreciate it. um, it's a little bit of a transition. Talking about our weekends, I clearly am in like a third location that I've been in. I'm like in a different house every week. I moved, but Friday night I was in Pittsburgh still and didn't necessarily like watch the fight, but it was on in the room I was in. Did you watch the big Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight Friday night?
I did not watch the fight.
Mm.
Friday, like part of the part of the reason of going to DC obviously was, like I said, to go to that event on Thursday, but also to get Kia out of the city and get back to DC and have some time together. So we went to dinner on Friday and came back at a reasonable hour, but I think I'm staying at my uncle's house. I don't think his Netflix was connected. I think I got the notification of, that message that everyone hates now. Oh, this is not part of your
Um,
house. And I was like, you know what? I don't care that much. And then I just did not even try. And I watched some NBA and then I fell asleep and then that was it. And then I don't even think I realized who won it until maybe like hours into Saturday.
really? I'm not a huge I think it was like MMA technically. I'm not a huge anything fan, like boxing, MMA, anything like that. It's a little too violent for me. Um, but, but I did say before the fight, I was like, I really want Jake Paul to get the shit smacked out of him, which apparently didn't happen. And I learned that, like you said, like later Friday night because I wasn't watching live. I mean, it was on. I like didn't really don't think I saw the results until I was like in bed Friday night and was back on Instagram.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, do you want to dig in a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think like obviously there's tons of talk about it after the fact. The contract stipulations that may or may not have existed on the reason why Mike Tyson may or may not have performed as well as he could have. You know, I haven't watched it enough to see if it was rigged, which people are obviously that's part of the conversation. We don't care about that. We just care about the marketing. So,
Really?
Jules, just to see if you were paying attention, which we just said that you weren't paying attention. If you can guess, which one of these products did Mike Tyson promote during his pre-fight promo leading up to the match?
Okay.
A, caffeine-infused energy pouches. B, cannabis products. C, personal injury law firm. D, all of the above.
What a fun quiz, Vaughn. You love to ask me what I know every week. Um, I don't know. I can definitely see campaign caffeine and cannabis being like good products for that audience. Personal injury law firm seems a little out of left field, but I also see the tie. I'll give you a punch. You might need a lawyer.
Right.
I'm gonna go for all of the above. Or
That
D.
is that is correct, Jules. Congratulations.
Wait,
Congratulations.
what do I win?
Follow-up question is how many members are in the Wu-Tang Clan?
9 or 10, depending on who you ask.
Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. But yeah,
Method Man's my favorite though.
there was tons of brands trying to get involved with this fight, both with Mike Tyson or Jake Paul individually, or with the sponsorship of the event itself. But all four of those, let me find the article just so I can quote it. It's a USA Today article. Mike Tyson emerges as heavyweight champ among product pitchmen before Jake Paul fights from Josh Peter, USA Today. It says capitalizing on the pre-fight publicity, he has promoted everything from caffeine-infused energy pouches, testosterone replacement therapy, a psychedelic mushroom home grow kit, cannabis products, a clothing line, saunas, a financial services app, and of course the personal injury law services in Las Vegas. Where's the name of it? Demopolis Law or something like that. Demopolis Law Firm. There we go.
I'm surprised that Jake Paul didn't promote Prime. Isn't that like his or his brothers?
Yeah. I didn't see that was like, I don't remember if he was, again, because we didn't watch it. We're talking about this strictly from the armchair seat after the fact because we were not paying attention. But I did see that, and I thought about Prime too, because I know that's a one, either, like you said, both of the Paul brothers or Jake's thing. But
Yeah.
Celsius, which is a competitor of Prime, sponsored the whole thing. So like
Oh,
there was activations during the fight.
Oh, I saw this.
Yes.
A
For Celtics.
fashion influencer I follow on Instagram was at the fight in like the Celsius suite.
Gotcha.
They're doing a good job. Like I wasn't paying attention to the fight, but my fashion girlies even got me aware of what's happening. So there's a lot. I mean, they've done a lot there. They did a good job for like a one-time fight. I love that list you mentioned of all the products. I feel like they're all like for degenerates. And speaking of degenerate activities, this is a really heavily wagered on fight, was it not?
Yeah, something on ESPN said this was like the most wagered fight in years. And it's weird because they didn't quantify like usually something like that you would be able to say like in 10 years, 20 years, whatever. So
Yeah, what does in years mean?
I would just guess, I mean, the last like really big fight, I mean, Deontay Wilder and the other guy. What's the guy that Deontay Wilder fight? Deontay
Are you doing some live fact checking?
Deontay Wilder fought my man. What's that guy's name? Why can't I think of his name?
I really have no idea. Are you Googling?
Yeah, I am. Tyson Fury.
Hmm.
Forgot about that. So Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury for the second time in like October 2018. The first time was in February. No, no, no. That was October 2021. The first time was in like February 2020. Um, Before that, I guess Pacquiao and uh MMA guy. What's his name? Conor McGregor. That was in like 2018, 2017. So, I mean, there's been some big fights over the past decade that could have been the last time that people wagered on it. But I would also say, since those fights, like because sports gambling is such a bigger deal than it was, like it's so much easier to do it. There's so many different places that you can do it. I wouldn't be surprised if like this just blew all those out of the water just because like just simply because of the access to gambling that people have now.
That's true. That's actually a really good point. Like it's become so much more legal than in 2020 or 2017 or whatever.
Right.
I want to list, you sent me an article. The specific number is this fight attracted 4 times as much money wagered as any other combat event at
Wow.
BetMGM.
Gotcha.
That's from an ESPN article. So that's not even just like, oh, they beat the record, like they smashed the record.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Kind of crazy.
It's a lot of money.
Um, yeah, no kidding. I also, just like speaking of numbers too, this a different ESPN article says 60 million households tuned in to watch, um, which is crazy. And I think part of the reason that's so many. Like I think that's like I don't know how many people watch the Super Bowl. Like 60 million is actually nuts. If that was like ratings on TV, I think the average like NFL game gets like 12 million people or something.
It's
Huh.
the Super Bowl has surpassed 100 million every year since 2010.
So to get though like roughly half of what the Super Bowl gets for like one fight and on Netflix, not like national TV, is actually like really impressive.
Yeah. It's not even, I mean, not even a real fight. Like it's not even, it's just,
I'm so curious. I mean, whoever put this together like knew what they were doing
yeah.
because Tyson is like, known to millennials and older, and there's interest in him. And Jake Paul definitely has like a lot of interest in viewers from the younger generations. And I feel like everybody knew who they wanted to win one way or the other. Um, so I mean, it makes sense. It was just really smart, whoever decided to do this.
Right.
Okay, you didn't watch, so you wouldn't know, but I've also seen lots of stuff. What's happening? Sorry.
Getaway salesman. Make your next getaway your
Got an ad from USA Today. Um, okay, I'm muting my computer now. Um, you wouldn't know because you didn't watch, but I and actually I don't think I noticed either, but I saw after there's a lot of complaints and a lot of people worried about how much like tech trouble there was in this broadcast. Now understanding that it's 60 million people, it's like kind of understandable. Like that's a lot of households to support on a website. Um, but there's a lot of people complaining that the quality of the streaming was really bad. There was like a lot of buffering. I think I read something that 85,000 people like complained, like logged problems with it. And that's just the people who like actually went out of their way to like file a complaint. That's not necessarily all the people who experienced it,
Right,
or what then went online talking about it,
right.
which then brings a ton of concern for the Christmas Day games. Um, so NF or not like excuse me, Netflix has a lot to figure out between before the NFL Christmas Day games. Probably won't draw as many viewers, but I think people will care as much as more if they're having tech issues.
Yes. They have to get it fixed because as it was announced, Beyonce, that's why they gotta get it fixed. You do
That's
not
true.
want millions of Beyonce fans only turning to the game to watch halftime and having to complain that the buffering in the stream is not working well. So yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So for those of you who missed it, um, recently, I guess today is Tuesday. Today's Monday. So last night, um, you're watching this on Tuesday. We're recording this on Monday. So yesterday on Sunday, they announced that Beyonce is going to be performing at halftime of one of the Christmas Day games, which is Texans versus the Ravens. It's in Houston, which is Beyonce's hometown. Um, Me and Jules were talking about this the other day. Like we had totally had no concept or like context of how often or how frequently or infrequently NFL games are actually played on Christmas Day. So we looked it up. It says the NFL has played at least one Christmas game every season since 2020. So not too much history there. It said they first played Christmas games in 1971, but they were unpopular and the league avoided them until 1989. So since then, NFL has played Christmas Day games occasionally. So I had honestly, until you said something, Jules, I hadn't even really known that those games are happening. Like, and that's part of it is from my context, as everyone will start to get from this podcast, is that I'm a sports fan. I pay attention to the NFL, but I'm an NBA guy. So Christmas Day to me is
NBA.
sitting in front of the game. Okay, cool. What time does LeBron play? All right, cool. That's it.
And I think I was on the opposite end of the spectrum of, I recalled like they always played on Christmas, which obviously is wrong. But I'm just a big watch sports on Christmas girl because by like Christmas afternoon, I need a break from my family. Like I need something for us to be focusing on. It's not like talking to each other. So it usually means putting on some sort of game. And I love the NBA, but my family is more of like a football family than a basketball family. And so the last few years, it must have been very exciting for me to have NFL games to put on instead of just NBA games. Um, so anyway, I've been paying attention to like I've known that these NFL games were coming up. Um, the connection between them being on Netflix just happened this weekend after the Paul Tyson fight, and then obviously the Beyonce thing was just announced. Which that's a really good point. Like the games themselves might have drawn like pretty average viewership, but that Beyonce I think will pull like a huge crowd online. So Netflix is gonna have to figure out those tech issues.
Yeah, this is a big deal. I think this is the first performances of Cowboy Carter songs, right? Maybe. Like,
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think
Because
that
I don't think she's done any other performances, and that came out in
came out in
like
this.
April,
No, yeah, it came out in April.
March or April. I remember listening to it on the way home from Dreamville, which was
That's
in April. So,
And full circle because she announced it during the Super Bowl. The singles dropped that night after the Super Bowl. Um, and then now she's performing the songs for the first time at halftime, not the Super Bowl, but of Christmas in her hometown. It's a big deal. So Netflix has got what, a month and some change to figure it out. Is
Yeah.
like that's the biggest of the big right there. Don't want to mess it up. Can't blow that moment.
Did Netflix also host the Tom Brady roast?
I don't know. I haven't
I
had
think
Netflix since they made that. This is not part of your household thing because me and Kia never paid for it.
I
So
think it's like
any
$12 a month.
big Netflix things, I missed them. I haven't seen it.
Let me see, because if I'm right that that was a Netflix thing, it was Netflix live comedy event. So that was like maybe one of their first live events or like one of the earlier ones that I'm aware of. And I think that went fine. I don't know how many people tuned in live to that. I know I watched it like in the week following. But they're going all in not only on comedy, because you were mentioning earlier the Netflix is a joke campaign. They seem to be going all in on sports, which I wonder if that's in response to like Hulu kind of dominating like live sports streaming. We've obviously heard of, or at least I have, stuck in my head all the time. The Hulu has live sports like ads. Do you know what I'm talking
Sure do.
about? So interesting.
Yeah. I'm also interested, like nothing that I read said that Beyonce performing at halftime of this Christmas game has anything to do with the connection of her husband being responsible for coordinating the halftime of the Super Bowl. I
Mm.
wouldn't put it past them. I mean, obviously, like they work collaboratively all the time. So maybe the proximity of those relationships made this happen. But the internet will be negative about this because they'll try to insinuate that Jay-Z is petty because he set up his wife to perform in her hometown on Christmas, but they didn't let Lil Wayne perform in his hometown for the Super Bowl. Um, so that'll be a conversation out there, but interesting. But there's nothing about it that says Jay-Z had anything to do with this. It says it's produced by Parkwood, which is Beyonce's thing. So let's just give Beyonce the credit because she's Beyonce.
Is there, do you know, I don't remember off the top of my head, is there like a sponsor of the halftime show? You know how Apple has started sponsoring the Super Bowl halftime?
I don't think so.
Interesting. It definitely wouldn't be Apple because they like own title, but
It just
uh,
it's Netflix and
interesting.
Netflix.
You'll have you'll have to let me know unless I get home in time to watch it, how that goes, because I think I might actually be going to the Chiefs Steelers game at the Steelers on Christmas. So
Wow, that's big
unless I
time.
get back somewhere in time to watch, I'll be catching up later. Um, yeah, I kind of wanted to go. I kind of like talked to my old roommate who lives in Pittsburgh, and then I talked to my mom about it, and I was like, I think I might go anyway. Like no one can stop me. That sounds fun. But now my mom is all in on it and very excited about it, which I like it's unexpected, but I'm in for it.
That's good. That'll be a good time.
I think it'll be awesome. Can't wait to like wear a cute little Christmas hat or something.
I hope the Steelers win because I mean, I got a little bit of Chiefs fatigue.
I did too. Did you watch the Bills game last night?
Sure did.
I'm not a Bills fan, even though I'm from upstate New York, so it's like kind of blasphemous, but uh I'm very glad that they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right, well here we are, week 4. A day late, unfortunately, but we got it done.
Who's a day late, but better late than never.
That's true. That's true. Have you gotten any feedback since last week? Anybody told you whether we're interesting yet?
Nope.
Me neither. That's actually why I've gotten like some feedback, but nothing super valuable. Nothing super like actionable. I shouldn't say valuable. All feedback is valuable, but actionable.
Right. But we're just having fun, Jules.
100%. I mean, I'm having fun
Just chatting it up.
talking about stuff I'd be talking about anyway. So
Exactly. Exactly. Except you wouldn't you I mean, it's been a learning experience for you. I mean, you learned how many people are in the Wu-Tang Clan. Like that's such an important fact of information that you take away from this process no matter what. Whether we do 20 more episodes or we do two.
I feel like you quizzed me in one of the earliest episodes too.
Yeah, I don't
And I
remember.
don't remember on what, but I'm sure the information is in my mind now. I just don't remember how I came about it.
Right.
Regardless, learning a lot.
Well, hopefully the listeners and watchers are learning something too.
Agreed. All right. Well, until next week, we'll have a brand new set of interesting sports marketing stuff to talk about.
All
All
right,
right.
Jules. It's been real.
Talk to you next week. Thank you.
See you later.